Whenever we find someone that we like, the first thing we think of, how do we make them fall in love with us? And naturally, you go to the conclusion that if you act nice, if you're accommodating, if you're sweet, all of these things will make them fall in love. But then you actually try it out and you're loving and sweet and you're forgiving and you got that soft white girl in Africa voice. And then you realize after a few weeks, he disappears, pulls away, goes to somebody else, or says he's not ready. What could have gone wrong? You treated him perfectly. You made him his favorite dish. You were completely accommodating. You were the sweetest girl around. Did Granny lie to you? Well, what happened is that Granny didn't know what the fuck she was talking about. None of that shit makes a guy fall in love. So we're gonna talk about the acts that genuinely makes a guy fall in love, and forget whatever the hell Granny told you. Okay, it's the new year, so new me. So let's talk about these strategies. And if you guys want to learn about them in a one-on-one basis, so that Granny doesn't tell you what to do, you guys can book a one-on-one phone call with me so that I could tell you exactly what to do. I am not going to give you Granny advice. I'm going to give you Father Alex advice. So that means if you're trying to make a guy fall in love, book a call with me by clicking on the description down below. And we have 50% off all of our courses using the coupon code BLACK, and 20% off working with me one-on-one using the coupon code BLACK. All right, so let's begin this. So the first one, and this is honestly, I genuinely love making this video because these types of videos breaks a lot of misconceptions about love. And the misconception that most people have is that they have to work really hard to make them love you. Have you ever had somebody who was obsessed with you that you didn't even try to do anything to make them obsessed? What do you think you did? Whatever the hell you did whenever you get people who like you that you don't know like you, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today, because it's actually the opposite of what you're supposed to do, right? So this is my favorite one, and that's spending boring time together. This is it. A lot of people really misunderstand how people actually fall in love. People fall for you during simple moments. The highlights don't make it in the memory bank. Whenever you recall how you fall in love, you usually start recalling little moments when maybe you guys are looking at each other, right? You don't really recall the moments when you guys are like in an expensive dinner. Whenever you think about them in retrospect, you think of the little moments. That moment you thought was boring, now you think of it in a moment a few months later and you realize how beautiful it was, right? So spending boring time together. If you guys are not capable of spending boring time, I'm telling you, that means you guys genuinely don't love each other. And when I mean boring, I mean sober time. I mean, y'all are watching TV without high on crack type of shit, right? You have a simple moment. These are the moments when the brain begins to bond. Or better yet, it's like the meal prep when you're cooking. This is meal prep. You're preparing the meal. You're preparing the ingredients. And once you have this boring time, then the other strategies can work. So the next act that makes a man fall in love with you is not being available. Notice how none of this is a say this, say that, blink like this, move like that. It's usually you prepare the meal, and once all the things are prepared, you put it in the oven by now spending time with them, right? Now the thoughts of you become crystallized. None of this, what I'm saying, is acting nice, is being accommodating, is doing spinneroonies or backflips. It's just simple things such as being there and not being there so that they can sense what effect you have on their lives. And if they genuinely love you, they'll feel an emptiness in their heart in your absence, right? The next one is building a life without him. You gotta be like a cat who have a social life outside of his house. Have you guys seen videos of cats where they actually cats that are who owners let them roam? They'll roam and have like little cat friends, right? And those little cat friends are like his buddies. And you might say, oh my God, like how does that cat, like a cat has a social life? It does. It has different social lives, or even dogs. Like a dog can have like a bunch of best friends. that I don't know. My dog knows a friend of mine that I know. Like a social life outside of your main relationship will cause a guy to want to compete to monopolize your life, to monopolize the things that you value so that you can make him your center. So having a life that you love so that you could spend some time by yourself, a life that you love so that if he leaves you or vice versa, you still have something that allows you to have a routine. You still have routines that you don't break. You still have an ecosystem that creates positive emotions. This causes a guy to realize that there are some things in you that he can't fully control, which creates the desire, which is men's natural instinct, to monopolize you. They want to monopolize your life. People, the only know why I know how to write Monopoly is because of the game Monopoly. Like, people are like, oh my fucking God, he spelled something difficult for once. Shut the fuck up, all right? Don't make fun of my disability. Next one is having them earn your trust. A lot of creepy nice girls are really trusting. I'm like, bitch, you don't know him. Like, why are you saying yes to go see his lair? What are you doing? Like, even though you do trust him, make him feel like you don't trust him in the beginning. Now, when I mean trust, for all the psychos out there, I'm not talking about tracking his phone where he's at. Show me your location. I'm not talking about tiptoeing in the middle of the night, check his phone, right? I'm not talking about asking your friends to spy on him or do little fucking side quests where you tempt him and see whether or not he's faithful, like a fucking CSI type of shit. We're talking about where you allow him to slowly get to know you. If you have kids, you don't let him see your kids for a few months. If you have a big family, you don't let him see your family. You'll go to family parties, but you don't invite him. You let him know, hey, motherfucker, there's still some distance here. You allow him to meet everyone but Granny. And he's like, why can't I meet Granny? And you say, well, because it's only for guys that I really like. And I don't know you yet. All of these things become like little steps, like a game, like things. Once you get at Granny level, you know you're in, right? A lot of people, all they do is just give him everything from the beginning. You got to make him feel he's climbing a ladder. Like every month, something new about your life, you give him access. And that makes him feel like he's working to get to know you. Now, the next one is remembering the details. The details is a sign that somebody's falling in love. When they don't pay attention to detail, that's a sign that they're not falling in love. Now, sometimes, like me, I'm really bad with details, right? It's actually one of my things that pisses people off a lot. Like, it's so bad that I only know two of my family's birthdays. Like, I think my sister's birthday is on the 24th or 25th. I don't know, one of the two, right? But when somebody is in a relationship with you, what they'll notice that really flatters them is that you remember little details. And those little details to us, you got to realize, most people nowadays, they're very narcissistic. And so not a lot of people pay attention to us. Even our parents, not a lot of people pay attention to the little things that makes us us. Not the things that makes you yourself, but also what makes you different from everyone. And so because of that, we yearn somebody pay us that attention. We only felt that attention if you were lucky as a child. And so because of that, we all secretly yearn to let go of the adult exterior and allow ourselves to regress back to a state of dependency when we were children, when we were able to fantasize and think about things that didn't exist and our imagination was limitless. And so when somebody gives us that sensation, it brings us back to that moment, that sense of wonder, that sense that somebody's providing for us. And that causes people to fall in love through what they call a regression. You make them their favorite food. You make it exactly how their mom or dad liked it, right? You make it exactly how or that food when they were little kids, right? You play that role of a parent without being too fucking parenty. And those little details is what, when they think of you, they're gonna say, damn, I can't believe they remember that I like crack. That's crazy, man. Like, you just remember. Like, they'll think back at it and just feel very paid attention to, if that makes any sense, right? Now, the next one is respect for yourself. And this comes down to knowing the things that you're willing and not willing to accept, right? A lot of people have no idea about the behavior that causes them to leave forever, the behavior that they're willing to tolerate but talk about, and the behavior that they don't care. When you're afraid to lose people, when you're afraid to walk away, this becomes a very scary thing, because what if they break my rules? I'm gonna have to follow through on my action. And the problem is that most people are just bluffers. They bluff. They don't really have standards. They just have it as a front, as a bluff, right? And so a guy, unfortunately, if you spend time around guys you love, what they're gonna do, they're gonna eventually respect. They're gonna eventually test you, right? Right? They're gonna, well, let me fuck it up, man. There you go. They're gonna eventually test you, because before people respect you, they test you. And if you got that nice girl, Jesus Christ, this girl is nice. Holy crap. If you got that nice girl look, just from this look, you got to test this girl. You have to. Because, like, we all give up that vibe. In fact, studies show that women who unfortunately been SA'd, touched or whatever by guys, convicts who are predators can literally observe a woman walk and guess whether or not she's been abused and hurt by just the walk. But they were able to accurately predict which ones were the abusers by the way they walk. And so your past, your lack of self-respect is shown in your face through your nonverbal cues. And you can't hide that, because deep down, what's causing this behavior, this needy, creepy, and just overbearingly submissive behavior, is just fear of losing them. Your fear of losing them. And so fear is what's really causing you to act in such a disrespectful way. It's not that you don't respect yourself, but that you can't handle the pain of respecting yourself. Because it takes work to respect yourself. Even though it heals you, there is a certain form of suffering, because you have to deny things that your lower self wants. And so the more you deny your lower self by having high standards, the more stronger your higher self would be, which will allow you to handle the pain of losing people. The next one is the cold phase. The cold phase is the look that a woman gives a guy when he fucks up, right? Where she saw him like this all the time, but now because he fucked up so badly, she's giving him the cold look. And this cold look is a look that most guys don't see in their girl unless they fuck up, right? And that, when they only see this face when you fuck up, it's when it start to take what you say seriously. Where you're always like this, but now they fucked up, now you're like this. And they're like, holy shit, I haven't seen that face. And it's not moving. It's like, it's steady, right? This will turn a guy that's usually aggressive, and you'll literally see it. They'll be like, what can I do to make her smile? What can I do to make her smile? And what I want you to do is learn to have that face for a little bit longer than you should. For example, me, I'm a nice person. So it's very hard for me to stay mad at people. So even when I should stay mad, I don't stay mad, because it's just in my very nature. It's what happens when you meditate, that it's very difficult to stay mad, because sometimes you have to stay mad to follow through on your action. But because if you meditate, you'll notice you get mad and then goes down instantly. You're like, never mind, that's no big deal. But it's not good when it comes to life, when it comes to bullshit, right? So you have to have a rational understanding that sometimes you have to put on an act. Even though you actually have forgiven them, you have to put the act, because they need to know that you're not that easy to bring back. So don't fuck up so that we don't have to go through that again, right? And this makes a guy love you more. It'll create the fear of losing you, and above all, he'll never want to see that face. And I'll be honest with you, it's kind of hot. Like, seeing a girl that's usually happy, mad, as a guy, it's almost like a different face. It's like her sister. It's like the other side, like your dark side. It's kind of cute, you know. The next act is acting slowly. The act of going really slow and letting the guy get to know you over time, people. And this causes a guy to get to know you and feel like, I don't know what kind of animal that is, but it was somewhere in Africa. It's this slow process goes against a man's very nature, Because what you do with this is that one, you test his patience, and you want a man with patience. You want a man with patience. A guy without patience is a guy that'll cheat on you. And two, you're testing his intentions. Now, it doesn't always work, but also you can kind of tell the ones that want a quick hit, right? And above all, it allows you to really like show a guy that you have some form of value, that you can't just treat me like any other girl. And a guy, when you go slow, it's the ultimate sign that you have some form of self-respect. Even though it pisses us off, fuck that shit. Unfortunately, we get it, right? The next one is pain. Inflict pain. Now, pain don't mean like stabbing him, right? We're not going to prison. And I'm not going to be an accomplice. What I mean pain is sometimes, like I said, make him wait. If he insults you, let him know that you don't like it. Have those uncomfortable conversations with him where you know he's breaking your rules, and you have to tell him, don't do that. You have to say, hey, you know what? I don't like what you did. I need a break from all of this. That's a form of pain. Or maybe the relationship needs to be broken up, and you have to break up with him, and that's some form of pain. But the point is that never protect your partners from pain, people. Never protect your partners from pain. Simply because pain is what causes a guy to seek your validation a lot more. And that pain can be conflict, talking about problems, a harsh criticism that's based on something real, or even sometimes just having to cancel plans because you're still at work. A lot of the times we don't cancel plans because we don't want to hurt them. Who gives a fuck if they get hurt? If you say something that offends them, who gives a fuck if it offends them? Somebody that likes you should be able to go from pain to forgiveness. And it doesn't matter, right? The only pain I don't tolerate that you guys give them is pain of cheating. Calling names. Hitting them. Or sabotaging them. You know, sabotaging against their friends, work, slashing tires. No Bronx mode people, no Timberland boots energy people, no black Air Force energy, none of that shit, okay? The only pain you give them is the pain that life provides. Maybe you don't want to hang out with them that day and you were planning to hang out and you need a break. You know, maybe your friends came over and your friends say, let's all hang out. So you don't invite them or even cancel plans with them or even cancel plans with her. I don't give a fuck. But the point is, you need to learn how to inflict pain. If a woman... If I go out with a woman and that woman never felt pain on my behalf, she doesn't love me. Like, and it's not pain where I give her pain, but that, for example, I had to meet up with you, but now I have to go back home early. I got to work tomorrow. And even though it sucks, even though I know that hurts you, but I got to wake up early. A lot of guys wouldn't end the date early. And then she'll say, oh, fuck, but why? I wanted to hang out. And you're like, no, I'm sorry, I have to leave. That's pain. She's mad, oh, fuck this motherfucker, right? But still, you apologize, you make her feel better about it, and she deals with it. But now she's suffering for you, but not suffering because you manipulated it, but because you're just more brave. You're more willing to express your boundaries and the things that you must and must not do. Like I said, me, when I was younger, I was the type of person that I wanted to shield my partners from pain. And it kind of caused them to take me for granted, right? Next one is isolation. And this one is where you guys take a momentary break together. You know those couples, those vacations that ruin relationships? Go on a vacation together. Go somewhere else where it's only both of you guys to sense the dynamic. If things go right, people usually come back more in love. If things go wrong, they usually come back fucking fighting and the next fucking guest on Jerry Springer. And the reason why is because isolation causes people to really be together and test. It was almost like, I think it's called friction test or pressure test the relationship. And usually it's because the reason why this makes people fall in love is because, especially if you are in an area where you guys don't know, naturally, emotionally, you guys are going to cling on to each other more. And if you guys have a healthy relationship with yourselves, the relationship with the other person will strengthen. And it strengthens in isolation. That's why cults, when they're trying to brainwash you, they isolate you. They take you to a new location where you don't have anything that looks similar, And the unfamiliar location will cause you to bond with the group more. So this isolation, vacation, hanging out together for like a half a day or even going out into the woods and stuff like that, that type of thing brings you guys together and potentially make them fall in love more, okay? So remember the 10 acts: spending time, boring time together, not being available, building a life without him or her, having them earn your trust, remembering the details, respect for yourself, cold face, slow, not slow in the head, and also inflicting pain and isolation. These acts causes people to fall in love with you pretty hard. And don't forget, if you guys enjoy this type of content, check out my courses, The Psychological Game of Attraction. It's a course that I made for women, Nice Guy, and the emotional mastery, The Feminine Woman, and my latest one, The Feminine Woman, right? It's a course that I created. It's like a self-help course for women. You can purchase all of those with the coupon code BLACK to get 50% off, or purchase all of the bundles at a discount on top of the already 50% off discount. And you can use that code to get a 20% off one-on-one coaching calls with me. That coupon 50% ends at the end of the year. So do that now, or else you're not going to get the coupons. Take care.